Many of my colleagues have already talked about in great detail the potentially disastrous effect of the new stream protection rule. In Utah, one of our operators estimates that the regulation will reduce its own recoverable reserves by 30 to 50% in all three of its longwall mines. And it notes that reductions of such large magnitudes would render those mines uneconomical, and they'd end up having to be shut down. Now, this Utah case study is unique, is not unique, it's rather illustrative of how the stream protection rule could impact the entire coal industry. Now, estimates on how many jobs this will cost vary widely. According to the administration, it's relatively low, but according to another study, the stream protection rule could eliminate between 40,000 and 78,000 coal mining jobs nationally. So how did we get here? What process produced this? Well, in September of 2010, the Utah Division of Oil, Gas, and Mining entered into a memorandum of understanding with the Office of Surface Mining Reclamation and Enforcement. The memorandum of understanding created a cooperative partnership between the two agencies regarding the preparation of the environmental impact statement associated with the stream protection rule. Since signing the MOU, however, the Office of Surface Mining has failed to involve the Division of Oil, Gas, and Mining in the rulemaking process. For instance, although the draft environmental impact statement was released in July of this year, the Office of Surface Mining has not contacted the division about the EIS since January of 2011. Furthermore, the Office of Surface Mining never allowed the division sufficient time to review the EIS. In one particular instance, the Office of Surface Mining provided for the division's review of a 961-page draft chapter of the EIS, but gave the division only 5 business days to reply. Now, reviewing a document of that size is itself an onerous task, but reviewing it and responding to it within a 5-day period is really, really difficult. Mr. Parfit, let me start with you. Does the state of Wyoming feel like it was adequately consulted during the drafting of the stream protection rule?
No, and as I've stated, we made several attempts to participate in the process. We had written letters through the Interstate Mining Compact Commission and requesting that OSM engage with the states, and we did not, were not given the opportunity for additional participation like Utah since January of 2011.
Okay, so Utah was not alone in that regard. What about you, Mr. Huffman? Does the state of West Virginia feel like it was adequately consulted during the drafting of the stream protection rule?
No, Senator. In fact, it gave the appearance that there was just an attempt to fill the squares as they went through the process so that because they had to enlist us as cooperating agencies, and once they did, that was for 4 years we were just left out there without any contact at all. Even though we reached out to them, they never responded until after this proposed rule was published in July of this year.
So a token gesture at the outset, but not much after that.
Yes, sir.
Ms. Schneider, is it the policy of the Office of Surface Mining to exclude states when drafting regulations and to enter into memoranda of understanding that it intends to violate?
No, sir. Back in 2010, 2011, there was coordination with the states. The MOUs were entered into. During that process, we got a lot of, as I understand it, a lot of very good comments from the various states, including the need to develop a more regionally specific analysis. OSMRE took those comments back and developed the proposed rule. We have actually had more meetings with the states than some of the testimony would suggest. We met with the states back in April at the IMCC meeting. In Baltimore, we have had meetings on Endangered Species Act compliance associated with stream protection with the states, provided them with a draft MOU. MOU that we're working on right now. We're meeting with the states at IMCC in Santa Fe today. I am aware that the director has reached out to a number of the states to try and continue to engage them in this process. I have as well. I have an open door policy. I am happy to meet with any state that would like to meet with me, and I would very much encourage the states to re-engage in this process so that we can spend more time working with them.
Okay, so I'm out of time, but let me just say in closing, well, it's nice to know that the Office of Surface Mining thinks that it engaged states in a meaningful way in this process. None of the participating states feel the same way. None of the participating states share the Office of Surface Mining's assessment of its own actions. A letter written on February 23rd, 2015, that was signed by the states of Alabama, Indiana, Kentucky, Montana, New Mexico, Ohio, Texas, Virginia, West Virginia, Wyoming, and Utah, stated that, quote, in large measure, OSM simply chose not to pursue further involvement of the cooperating states in the process, in direct contravention of the state's memorandum of understanding with the agency, close quote. I find that very, very troubling, to say the least. Thank you, Madam Chair.